let's go ahead and get into some of the Republican side of this.
Yeah, I think that's important. Let's go to the next part here, please. And I think it's very important just to look at the way things are going right now for Trump within the Republican base outside of the general election. Let's put this up there on the screen from the same polls that we were discussing here. Quote, nearly 70% of all GOP voters stand behind Trump amid the indictment and the investigations. Even more significantly, though, that I found within this poll was not only do they stand behind Trump, but they also dismiss concerns about electability despite the recent criminal arrest and the legal investigation. That's why I thought that the statistic was so important. Obviously, Trump is a very popular Republican, but people can say that you're popular and that they think that something is going to hurt you. No. The vast majority of Republicans here are saying this is not going to hurt him in the general election. Now, there's some pretty decent evidence to say that that's not true, but the point is that if DeSantis is going to make a case around electability, people need to believe that this was going to affect his electability.
Yeah.
Not whether it's objective or not, whether you believe it or not. And look, right now, they do not believe it. And also, in terms of the lead that he has, it is immense, in the same poll. Let's go and put the next one up there on the screen, please. Trump currently at 46%. DeSantis, 31%. Mike Pence, 6%. Nikki Haley, 3%. Tim Scott, 3%. Asa Hutchinson, 3%. Vivek Ramaswamy not even rating there on the poll. So, again, what are we learning here? This is a two-man race at the end of the day. The problem for DeSantis is this. Even if you take all the others that people generally support and you add it up, it still doesn't equal 46%.
Yeah.
So Trump has got a lock, and the DeSantis coalition to get to 51%, 50 plus 1, you need the Mike Pence voter, the Nikki Haley voter, to agree with the formerly pro-Trump voter. How do you square that? There's just not a lot of evidence that you can. Looking at this, I just think it's so obvious. Like, look, the Republican Party, basically as we know it today, is a relative cult of personality. People can get upset by saying that, but I just think it's empirically true. By looking at the way that people are voting in terms of stop the steal in the GOP primary and in their continued support for Trump. How do you run against a cult of personality? Now, for the rest of the country, it may be true that you don't necessarily like that. You see a lot of inconsistencies. You find it abhorrent, or it just doesn't really do it for you. But for a lot of people, it really does do it for them. And to watch this, kind of play out, I just think a lot of people are not grappling with reality here. I mean, it's very clear. DeSantis has a massive structural disadvantage, which would require a level of political jiu-jitsu that I just don't see him having any real track record of. Yeah,
I agree. And I think on the electability point, because this is really important, there were always two questions here. Number one, does the Republican base really care about electability?
Well, there's not a lot of evidence for that.
There's not a lot of evidence for that, okay? That's number one. Number two, it's very hard to make an electability case against someone who was already elected president.
Yes.
Remember, these Republican voters went through 2016 when the entire media class said, there is no way this man can win the White House. Not a chance. Hillary's a lock. The Clinton campaign was popping champagne that morning, thinking this was in the bag. That experience is still very fresh and very visceral. So you saying, no, this guy, he actually can't be elected, it doesn't surprise me that they're like, we don't believe you, because he already got elected president. So definitionally, he clearly was at least electable. And also a majority of them don't believe that he lost the 2020 election as well. You still have a majority of the Republican base that thinks he actually won in 2020. So if you are betting the farm on an electability case and you're Ron DeSantis, I think it fails on multiple levels here. And then at least to this point, and I want to say, look, he's not in the race, so he's a little bit handicapped in terms of making a direct case against Trump. And we've also seen that even when he throws a little bit of a jab at Trump, there's an overwhelming backlash to it, which makes it very hard to make a case against him as well. I just haven't seen him be able to put together an argument that is likely to land with the majority of the Republican base. It could change. Listen, there's no doubt about it. Things happen. It can be crazy. But to be honest with you, there's more support for Donald Trump and more commitment and more enthusiasm for Donald Trump among the Republican base than there is for Joe Biden with the Democratic base.
And let me also explain this for some of these Republicans. I'll try to understand the mindset. The mindset is this. We did what we were told. we nominated John McCain. You told us to do John. We didn't ever like the guy, actually, all that much. He didn't agree with us. He wasn't a fighter. You know, he stood up for Obama, all this stuff. We swallowed our pride and we went with it. Then we really hated Obama. But yeah, you guys told us. You said we got to cut taxes. We got to nominate Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan. Again, we didn't agree with Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan. We didn't like Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan. We liked a whole lot of other people like Michelle Bachmann and others. But we said, okay, we'll listen to you. And then those people all lost. They got creamed in the general election. And then we went with our heart. We went with Trump. And you guys told us it wasn't going to work out. And you told us over and over again, but we backed him because we love the guy. And then he won. So why should we listen to you? I mean, when I put it that way, it's actually kind of easy to empathize, right?
Absolutely.
If you're a person who really believes in Trump and you're somebody who's been wanting to go with your gut for a long time but haven't been able to, felt restrained by kind of the Republican elites in Washington, people like Paul Ryan, Mitch McConnell, and all these figures, and then the one time that you do go with your heart, you actually win, there's pretty good evidence, right?
Yeah.
Right there. But then, you know, the 2020 election happened. So it's one of those where it's more money than I am painting, but I'm trying to show you what their internal mindset is on this.
And to the extent that the Republican primary contest will be fought on an issues-based landscape, which I think is probably minimal at best, Trump is in a better position on all the issues. I mean, he's in a better position with regard to Social Security and Medicare. He's in a better position with regard to the Ukraine war and how the GOP base feels about that at this point. He's in a better position with regard to abortion, even with respect to the Republican base. It is still a minority contingent that wants the sort of, you know, really extreme restrictions like DeSantis has signed into law or like a national ban like Mike Pence wants to push through. So he has positioned himself in a much more intelligent place with regard to the issue set as well. So again, I think the media has painted this portrait that Trump is really vulnerable and that he's on the rocks and his power is diminished and anyone could come in with a strong challenge and now's the time that they could take him out. I just don't see it. Again, I think he is actually in a better position with the Republican base than Joe Biden is with the Democratic base, based on the numbers that we see. And also, listen, based on the fact you've got 70% of the public that doesn't want Biden to run again, only 60% that doesn't want Trump again. So that's the landscape as it exists right now.
Yeah, look. We'll see what happens.
Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now, and Saagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us, and if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.